He's got too much pine tar.
Sloppy jalopy. They were doing the Chris Davis fishing for it.
Might be going to call George Brett out.
Well, he's out.
Yes,
Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out. And
Steve McMahon.
he is out and having to be forcibly restrained from hitting plate umpire Tim McClellan.
Too much pot tar.
way too much pot tar.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Too Much Pod Tar. As today is October 28th, and congratulations to the Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers, winning the World Series this year for the first time since 1988. They won, winning Game 6 last night, 3-1. So I have a couple Dodgers fans on to celebrate this victory. Kevin Klein, who was on our review show last week before the series started, he was on there, and then I also have a new guest to this pod, Meghan Bailey. So welcome to the show, guys, and congratulations on the victory.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome to be back.
Yeah. So what are your
awesome to win?
to winning the World Series?
Go ahead, Kevin. You
All
go
right.
first.
This felt like a long time coming. I mean, the Dodgers had been in the NL postseason race since 2013, year after year, coming up short, heartbreaks, even cheated once or twice, depending how you look on it. But this year, the Dodgers proved from the very start they were the best team in Major League Baseball. They had a .717 winning percentage. They steamrolled their way through the first couple rounds. Then they had the magnificent 3-1 series deficit to the Braves, came back, won 3 straight, and then they got the job done against the Tampa Bay Rays, and it was a fantastic ending to what a great season it's been.
Yeah. I won't lie. I was kind of sad for Snell that he got taken out because he was wheeling and dealing, and I am a pitcher advocate first and foremost. So when pitchers are on their game and they get taken out, it upsets me. But at the same time, then our bats got hot again, and it just we deserved it. And my first cry of the night was when they let Kershaw grab the World Series trophy first. So that man deserves every ounce of everything that is a World Series. So that I if anything, I'm not even happy for myself as a fan. I'm happy for Kershaw.
Yeah, he definitely deserved it. I'm not a Dodgers fan, but I was rooting for him to, especially rooting for him to win it because he deserves it for sure. Like, definitely puts the last, kind of gets his last thing there for his Hall of Fame career.
Yep.
Obviously, he would have been in the Hall of Fame anyway, but that's kind of the last thing he needed.
Yeah. And now Clayton Kershaw has officially 3 World Series wins when starting, as opposed to the pitcher that he's often compared to in his era, Justin Verlander, who I believe has actually no wins in the World Series.
Nope.
Oh.
Surely does not. That's what makes me mad is everybody's like, oh, Kershaw chokes in the postseason. The reason why is because they compare it to that 2013 game. Oh God, I turned it off. I watched. So I live in Florida now, right? So I started becoming a UCF fan because I graduated college. I ended up graduating college from there before Scott Frost took over and pumped up the program. But we don't have to talk about college football. That's something else. But I turned UCF on That was the game that I turned on because it was the fifth inning and it was 9-0, and I was like, I can't watch this anymore. And he came in early. He was on like 2 days rest or something. And Mattingly was like, oh, let's just pitch him because he's literally the only ace that we have and good starting pitcher. And that game just ruined him forever. His pitching game and his I think his reputation kind of. And oh God, that game ruined me as as a fan. Probably a lot of people, because that became the era of Kershaw chokes. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Kershaw chokes in the postseason, and he doesn't though. Like they just they pick out the bad before they talk about the good. So. I'm just relieved for him, and I know that's super crazy or whatever, but he's the one that I feel the most for in this situation. So I'm so glad. But yeah, that's my Kershaw rant, I guess. I'm good with that.
I definitely agree with that, though. Like he has the bad reputation. Well, he did before, at least. Now I think those jokes that he chokes are gonna go away. Like after this, there's no way people can still say that he's a choker.
No. Yeah, they have to find their next victim. If they want to go after Shane Bieber, then make it him.
Yeah.
Please. And Dave, I'm still on edge about Dave Roberts. I was advocating, actually. I was like, because I'm a huge Joe Mauer stan, actually. He's my favorite, second favorite baseball player. Mike Piazza's my first. But I was like, can we get Joe Mauer in here? Can he be our manager? Like, someone, please. And everybody was like, well, catchers do really great as managers. I was like, yeah, I know. So, like, let's get Mauer in here. But Roberts isn't going to go anywhere now because he finally won a World Series. So.
Yeah. Well, you brought him up, Kevin Cash, who going into the series, I thought he was a baseball genius and one of the smartest guys out there. But I know he's too heavy into analytics and lifting Blake Snell after Austin Barnes got the single off him with Mookie Betts and Corey Seager coming up both for 4 against him with 4 strikeouts. Was one of the most questionable decisions I had ever seen. It was almost worse than anything Dave Roberts has ever done, maybe besides pitching Kershaw in relief last season in that Game 5. Oh, yeah. And that wasn't the only bad decision I felt Cash did. The other one that really stood out to me was actually in Game 1 when he allowed Tyler Glasnow to throw a career-high 112 pitches. You could tell around the 90-pitch mark for him, he was out of gas, and yet Cash left Glasnow out to die.
Oh my God. I saw 112 pitches and I was like, wait, am I seeing this correctly? And I know that, you can do it, but he looked tired. Oh, I felt so bad for him.
Yeah. The one thing I just don't get, people trying to make the argument like, the Rays have been doing this all season. They've been taking pitchers out early and then but then what do you say when you look at Game 1 and he kept him out there when he was tired and he didn't have his stuff.
Yep.
Snell was like looking near perfection there, and the hit he gave up wasn't even like a hard hit. It was like a little blooper, and it doesn't make sense at all. Like I had no dog in the fight, and I was so upset about the move. I was like, what are you doing?
Well, when you do that too. So I was a excuse me. I was a pitcher, and I still am a pitcher, I guess you could say. And so I was treated very poorly because I grew up in literal Podunk, California, Northern California, and I was the second best pitcher in the league. I could throw 65 miles an hour, and my coach didn't know how to treat me because, we have to start her every time. And I'm like, no, but I like first base. Like, I can pitch, but I like first base. But he was like, I don't care. You can pitch. So we're going to win. And every time, like, even in the first inning, if I walked somebody, he'd be like, you know what? You got to go. Well, what? Like, I didn't even get to start, So whenever they do that stuff, it hurts me to my core because they have more in them. They made one mistake. I'm sorry. Like you know, I know that in big games it costs you, like sometimes it costs you, but also let the pitcher then make up for themselves, you know, because they can, and I've proven myself before. But the pitcher it's not just on the pitcher, you know. So yeah. Like the game the other night. Oh God, I don't want to talk about it. I've already blocked it from my memory. What game was it?
I assume Game 4 is what you're referring to.
Yeah, Game 4. Sorry, I already blocked it from my memory. Oh, so many mistakes were made. It wasn't just on Robert. No, I'm going to blame Roberts for that one actually, but not so much. But like, you know, it wasn't on really. I mean, really anybody. There were just so many minor errors made on both sides that like, oh, you can't. But then one person is blamed. And it sucks because you take the blame. Oh, it just hurts you to your core. It just hurts you. And I feel that.
The one thing that really gets me about the Kevin Cash move there was he put in Nick Anderson, who I know he says like he was their best pitcher in the regular season, but in the postseason he gave up like I think it was like at least an earned run his last 6 starts, and like you got to go with the hot hand. You can't just put in a pitcher that's been struggling and expect to get out of the inning.
Also, Mookie Betts had been reverse splits the entire season. He was like, I think he didn't even have a home run off lefties during the regular season, and he was batting in the low 100 range, crushing right-handers. Yet Nick Anderson, as you mentioned, had been struggling every single postseason appearance, and you put him in to face arguably the hottest hitter on the planet, Mookie Betts, and then Corey Seager. It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, and him and Seager were 0 for 6 against Snell. So I was like, what the?
Right. It did. Oh God, my heart broke for Snell. It really did. I was mad. I actually was mad. I know that I'm a Dodger fan, right? But like, I was mad. I yelled at the TV. I said, "Okay, you're joking. Keep the man in." You as a pitcher, you don't want that. It just, you know, it brings flashbacks back to me. So I'm like, but let him just keep him in. Yeah, it's crazy. I have my child. She's asking me a question. What happened?
All right, so
you want to say hi?
I want to talk about Randy Arozarena real quick. This guy was the real deal.
Oh yeah.
Give me a second.
The first couple games looked like the Dodgers had contained him, but then once Kenley Jansen had allowed that solo home run, I think it was in Game 2, that just lit a fire underneath this guy. He ended up batting .364 for the entire series, .462 on base. He ended up with 2 or 3 home runs, and this guy looks like he has a very bright future in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. The one thing that made me mad was Seager had his 8th home run of the postseason, but nobody mentioned it. And then the minute he got his 8th home run, they were like, "Oh, record-breaking Arozarena with his 8th home run of the postseason." And I was like, "Wait, didn't Seager already do that?" I'm confused. They didn't. I don't know. Well, I mean, he got MVP, so it's fine. But there was some. And it was obviously sorry, I have a very big hatred for Joe Buck. So Joe Buck was hyping him up the whole time, but it just they didn't make Seager look like a big deal. They made it, but Arozarena is good, so I can't deny that he is. He's gonna kill it in seasons moving forward, for sure.
Yeah. As a Yankees fan, I'm really scared for having to face him. Like
yeah. G-Man Choi, can we talk about him though? Because he's honestly one of my favorite non-Dodger players. Oh, sorry, you want to talk about Arozarena? Sorry, I just get really excited, and it's weird because I'm a Dodger fan, but like I go to Tampa games all the time, so.
Yeah, he was good defensively in that series, but in terms of the bat, he was not a factor.
No,
I was actually surprised.
Me too. Yeah,
Same
no,
with
his
same with
offense was
Austin
terrible.
Meadows.
Oh yeah.
Hey, hold on, sorry. Emma.
Yeah.
She's
Speaking
not
of,
trying to-
we talked about Seager for a couple minutes. But he obviously won the MVP and now adds that to his NLCS MVP. So he's picking up that hardware, and
Yep.
and really, I'm still even more in awe of how people wanted to trade him in the offseason. Like,
Yeah, we talked about it last week, but that was one of the biggest storylines early on in the offseason was that since Francisco Lindor was rumored to be on the block, the Dodgers fans had put Corey Seager on the block because they wanted to essentially flip the two guys because
Most Dodger fans.
people felt Lindor
Not
was a
all
far
of them.
superior defender.
Yeah.
And
No.
then in the terms of the bat, most people were rational and said they were kind of even, but they gave Lindor the edge just because of the defense. But I was on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and I said that would be one of the worst trades you could possibly do because Corey Seager has MVP upside, and yeah, it's crazy to see now that he's the NLCS and World Series MVP.
And World Series. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. That injury, didn't he? Because his hip surgery was kind of like Tommy John surgery, but for your hip, right?
He had Tommy John surgery and hip surgery.
Oh, that's like so that.
Initially, yeah, he was taken out because of the elbow injury, so he got Tommy John, and then they out of nowhere gave him hip surgery too.
Out of nowhere, I like that. Because it was out of nowhere. All of a sudden, his hip was hurting him, and you were like, "Wait, what? You just got back? Like what?" I think it was because the injury like hurt him too, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, he's going to be no good." Well, okay. Hopefully, this season just proved them wrong because he was fine the entire time. And what do you expect from someone that had hip surgery and Tommy John surgery? Like when they come back, a lot of people I don't think put themselves in athlete shoes. That's all. So the injury was like rough for them. They were like, he's going to be injured the whole time. And some people were comparing him to Stanton. Like, well, he's good for like a hot minute and then he gets hurt. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, now I'm calling Stanton as World Series MVP next year.
He was really hot for a minute in Petco. Yeah. He had like a home run. It felt like 3 straight games or something.
Yeah, I think it was even 5. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if you guys saw my tweet, but I chugged a Dr. Pepper for Giancarlo Stanton. So.
No, I didn't see that.
Because he hit a grand slam. No. I said if Giancarlo Stanton hits a grand slam, I'll chug a Dr. Pepper, and then he did within 2 minutes. So,
wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
At the beginning of this season, I said Giancarlo Stanton says, "I know his spot, but can't even hit it." And so then he was hot the entire season. And I was like, "You can thank me for that. Thank you, sir." But no, he had a good season. He hasn't for a while, so I've liked him since the Marlins. So he's Anyway, but he gets hurt a lot. So
yeah, I'm waiting for him to have a fully healthy season.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you want to talk about in this World Series, Alex, that's on your mind?
Well, one thing I want to talk about is the Dodgers bullpen, how great they were in that game. They went 7 1/3 and allowed just 2 hits, and then Urias pitched the last 2 1/3, got the save, striking out 4, didn't allow any base runners, I don't think. So yeah, he was great, and the rest of the bullpen was great coming out of the bullpen after Gonsolin only went an inning and a third. So yeah, that was a big key for them to shut the Rays down for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think both these teams, their bullpens were for the most part, phenomenal throughout this series, other than maybe Game 4 when both teams kind of had their slip-ups. But I was really surprised how good Alex Wood was for 2 innings. He had been pretty bad with us the entire season. ERA
Yes.
over 6. Just comes in on a mission. 2 hitless innings, 3 strikeouts. And then Victor Gonzalez was someone I mentioned last week, as this guy's just been a bright star in our bullpen. He got 4 outs, 3 strikeouts, and that was a pivotal point of the game. And then Julio Urias, just like how he closed out the NLCS Game 7, 4 strikeouts this go around. I think he actually had the last 2 Rays caught looking, and he was on the mound yet again for another celebration. So he broke a World Series record or something for Mexican-born players. I think they said he had 5 appearances this World Series.
He oh God, he was on it. When they put him on the mound, I was like, what's gonna happen? And oh man, he didn't disappoint.
Yeah, and they didn't even need to use Blake Trinan or Kenley Jansen, which is kind of one of the sneaky.
Thank God.
It's kind of sneaky, and yeah, I know you're saying thank God because of Jansen, but it's kind of crazy because those.
Oh no, Trinan. Thank God.
Trinan, he's our best reliever.
Oh, I don't know. Both of them make me nervous. I don't know. That's just me though.
Blake Trinan is going to get mad paid this offseason. He really shut the door down in Game 5. He threw 98 miles per hour sinker. It was nasty. And Dustin May didn't have to pitch either, so that was also surprising.
He definitely Trinan was better in Game 5 than he was in the when they brought him in before.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, because he did not do well the first time they brought him in. But he did well. Yeah, and Alex Wood, like you said, Alex Wood surprised the heck out of me. Oh my God. Both games he pitched in. He was bringing it. The Dodgers bullpen was like, oh, you guys want to talk about us choking? Okay, well, we're not going to this year.
Yeah.
But
and another thing I wanted to mention too was a quick shout out to Manny Machado. Who has to pay his back in last year he said some fan was heckling him and he said like, I'll bet you my contract will win a World Series before you, and look what happened.
I want some of that, man. Give me some of that. I'm broke. Let me pay my bills.
I also love that the Padres got swept by the Dodgers. So if he does get reminded of that bet, it's only going to make it even more painful.
Oh yeah.
Someone updated him, and I don't know if he actually said this or whatnot, but whoever it was like, oh, Manny Machado doesn't recall ever saying this.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh
yeah. I was like, really though? Does he not? Or
I mean, we got video evidence. So
yeah. He doesn't remember the video ever being or taken or something like. I don't know. Okay, sure, dude.
Were you drunk or something?
Yeah. Were you high like Bellinger? Like, I'm not really sure. No.
Oh yeah, man. That's another thing. Bellinger is like one of the most meme-worthy players. I love seeing him with like always looking high.
My favorite meme this whole postseason has been, wait, when did the cardboard cutouts come to life?
Oh my God.
It's so fun. It's so funny. It's so funny. Oh, and then when he thought he hit it out, and then he was like, "Come on," or whatever. It was right exactly where like the grass was, so everybody was like, "Oh, he just did this on a green screen." So people have been like putting different things in the background of him yelling like, "Come on." When he thought he hit it out. Yeah, it's great. It's pretty funny. Poor Cody.
I saw one.
No, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead. Sorry, I keep talking.
I saw one that was like, wait, so Blake Snell pitches for us now or something? Or...
Oh, poor Snell. Poor Snell. Someone today I retweeted. It said, hold on. So Justin Turner obviously gave COVID to Cash because he has no sense of smell. That's why, no sense of Snell. That's why he pulled him out.
That's pretty great. Huh?
Dad joke central, but it was pretty funny. I laughed for a while about it.
Oh yeah, that
great.
was another big thing that I wanted to mention too. Is like I don't know how did that whole situation work where he gets the positive test after the game, or I mean during the game, and then they don't even announce it or anything, and it's like how did they even play the game if he had a positive test, if he was waiting for results during the game or something? I don't know. It's just so weird to me.
The whole thing is sketchy.
Like,
the whole thing is super sketchy.
He came back out after he got the test.
When he came back out, I don't even think it was after he got tested again. The day before he got tested, and one of them was not. It didn't say positive or negative, and then a couple hours later, he got another one, and it said positive. But how was he allowed to play for 7 innings?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. Someone even said on my Twitter, like I saw it on my timeline, did Justin Turner die? What just happened? Like, I mean, Rios is not a terrible, like replacement because it's Rios, but everybody was like, what just happened? Because nobody said anything. I don't know. It's the whole thing is super sketchy for me. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and then he I think I saw something where security told him to leave because he had to go and he had to leave, and then he was refused to leave, so he came back on the field for the celebration. It's that's just not a good look at all.
Yeah, no, I know, and I'm ironically enough, I'm in an Astros group chat. We were all talking. I know, right? It's me, and I love every single one of them. Where we were talking about it, and I was like, I don't know, like if he had I'm going to use the word erroneous a test before, maybe he didn't believe it, or maybe he didn't get told. Like I don't Dave Roberts didn't mention it. I don't know. It was just really weird. It was just really weird to me. I don't feel like Turner would have done that. I feel like it was one of those things where someone else agreed that MLB was, for revenue purposes, was trying to kind of almost push a game 7. So I don't know. Like, I really don't know. It was just kind of weird that all of a sudden, we were winning and it was the 7th inning and, oh, you know what? Turner has COVID. What?
Oh yeah. It's
yeah, super random.
Yeah. So I have a conspiracy theory for this. What if they found out that he had COVID and then Manfred told the Rays to throw the game so it wouldn't be a game 7, so they wouldn't have to think about what they would do. And that's
true.
Snell was taken out.
True.
Yep.
No, that's been another theory that we've talked about, actually, because they didn't want now to then postpone the World Series. Because what would you do for game 8? And then everybody would be pissed about, well, what are you doing? Because everybody has COVID now. Yeah. So, I don't know. The whole thing's just sketchy. But to put it on Turner, of all people, come on, man.
Yeah. Dude's
been hated on enough. He's the second most deserving person of this title. So it's all kind of weird. I don't know. It's weird. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm just, it's the timing of everything. It's just weird. I don't know.
I won't comment on any of the Turner stuff, but what I will say is when Rob Manfred was handing out the commissioner's trophy and giving this speech, either it seemed like he was intoxicated or something physically wrong was going to happen to him. He was really shaky and seemed like he was slurring his words and looked nervous. It was a weird scene out there. Very weird.
Very weird. It was awkward. It was awkward. Super awkward. Everybody booing him.
I almost kind of feel like he was holding back tears because he was like, "Oh, why am I getting booed?" or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Manfred, look what you've done. Like, okay, I don't
He
know.
did.
You know why? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You know why? But he definitely, yeah, he was not. He was kind of coherent, but not really at the same time. So
Yeah, I don't know.
that was a good point. I the only thing that I really remember actually was Dave Roberts. The second time I cried, Dave, before he even said anything, he just said Clayton Kershaw, and he like pointed at him, and I was like, yes, I know, because he just deserves it so much. That's all. I think I'm happier for him than I am for myself.
I love how he shouted out Ross Stripling too.
I know. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what? I was like, he was okay, but that's weird. That makes me feel weird. I don't know how I feel about that, but it was funny.
I respected it because he was on
Yeah.
the team and they
Yeah.
traded him. It wasn't like it was Stripling's decision.
Right. Well, thankfully, too, Jock didn't go, oh my God, you should have seen me when that whole Angels thing was happening. Oh, Jock is my favorite. That's why. So I had a mental breakdown when they were like, well, Jock's being traded to the Angels. I was like, of all teams, why? Come on.
Yeah. Well, now he's a free agent, so.
I know. Oh. And all the Astros people that I know, they're like probably on our team, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Jock to the Astros and Springer to the Dodgers.
We're not
kidding.
No, Springer.
No, I'm kidding.
No, we don't need an outfielder.
No.
If the NL keeps the DH, which I don't, apparently they're not going to, Jock will probably get re-signed. But if they don't, then there's no. I mean, yeah,
No.
he would be better off on an AL team, honestly.
Yeah.
So, and it pains me to say it, but I want him to be treated. The only thing that I request is he be treated correctly. That's all I want.
I want to talk about Mookie Betts,
Yes.
who's been the star throughout this season. In Game 1, he stole the first base of the World Series, so therefore he won the US of A tacos, and I think you can redeem them as of today.
Mm-hmm.
But before the season had even begun, this was the guy on my radar that I felt like he was the missing piece to get the Dodgers over the hump, the drought, whatever you want to call it. And he just changed the entire mentality of this locker room. One of my favorite storylines was that he worked with Austin Barnes, who had been a struggling hitting catcher the last few seasons.
Yep.
But after a few therapy sessions with one-on-one with Betts, Austin Barnes turned his season around, and he even had the hit last night that knocked Snell out of the game. And then Mookie Betts, with that home run last night, one of the biggest insurance home runs you could ask for. Just everything that Mookie Betts brought to the Dodgers really lived up to what the expectations were, and I'm really glad that they re-signed this man for 12 more seasons because he's worth every penny.
100% agree.
And his defense, just out of this world.
Yeah, quick shout out to the Red Sox for being dumb.
Quick shout out to Jared Carabas.
Yeah, as a Yankees fan, I know you're thrilled that he's no longer in your division.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst trades probably in the history of the sport. It's like trading Wade and Gretzky.
I mean, Alex Verdugo's okay, but he's no Mookie Betts.
Exactly. Yeah, and I love Verdugo. I was really high on him.
Yeah.
I think he's got a great career ahead of him, but he's never going to live up to what Mookie Betts can do. And I feel bad for Verdugo in that sense because he's always going to get compared to Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
I didn't want Mookie on my team at first because I have two specific Boston fans that I just cannot stand that I know. And like most for everybody, but they were all about Mookie all the time, and I was like, okay, sure. And so they were like, Mookie to the Dodgers, and I was like, Oh, but it just brought back specific people's like shit talking, I guess. And then he just his smile even just lights up the whole dugout.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't care. I'm like, haha, I've got Mookie, you don't. So I totally turned my attitude around because at first I was like, oh, I don't want him because everybody liked him. Like, not everybody, but like, these people liked him. And then I was like, oh, you know what? He's great. Like he's been so infectious in for everything. And like you said, Austin Barnes, it's been great. It's really been great. So I'm very glad to have him. And now rub it in their face. Like, haha, we have him, you don't. So that's the petty side of me. I'm so glad. He was a very good addition. Yeah. And like you said, 12 more years. Yes. better than Machado, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Machado's I think gets a lot of hate, but I mean, he's still a good player, but he's no Mookie Betts.
Yeah. Mm-mm. No, definitely not.
Betts is probably the second best player in the league. Well, a lot of people are even saying he's the best player in the league after this postseason, but it's still Trout, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot, the past couple of days on Twitter, there was a lot of fights about who the first and second best players were. He just, yeah. I'm also one of those people that not just stats, like how you are, your personality and what you bring to the team matters for me too. Which is why for a while I was a huge Kike Hernandez stan. But I need you to also be clutch in certain situations, dude. And he's kind of been, but his what he brings to the dugout, his personality and stuff. That's what makes me love him. Because that's just who I am. Because you can't have a team that doesn't have chemistry. But I know at the end of the day, that's not all that matters. But that's where I stand.
I have a question. Does David Price get a World Series ring? Even though he didn't pitch at all? Like, obviously, he opted out before the season.
Yeah, he should be getting a World Series ring. Just because, one, he's on the roster, and two, you have to respect his wishes of not wanting to partake in a COVID-related season. And, there were players that came down with the virus during the course of the season, so you never know. You just never know, like, if you could have been one to have caught it. So
exactly.
I don't know what his future holds for the Dodgers. I don't know if we're gonna have a cure by the time next season starts. So who knows if he plays next year with us? But I mean, I actually talked to a few Dodgers, and they said David Price was a really good mentor off the field, and he would send them text messages, whether it's encouraging them or constructive criticism on certain things to work on. So even though Price wasn't on the field, there was at least a point during his tenure where he was helping guys out.
Yeah, he's kind of a veteran too. So I mean, look at Utley, Freeze. We love our veterans, So he's got a pretty good chance of, like you said, if there's a cure of like a vaccine even, maybe he'll be a starting pitcher. But he's been good in a veteran sense too.
Yeah, how many years I forget how many years are on his contract.
I believe David Price has 2 years left because I think they took 3 years of him on.
All right.
Oh, they took his whole contract? Okay. I thought it was just
Well,
for 1 year.
the Red Sox are paying for about half of it, but the Dodgers get 3 years of control.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
it'd be 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Price, he's supposed to be making 32 or 33 million in a full season, and the Dodgers were only responsible for like 16 million of that. So they were getting 3 years, 48 million at one point, which is like a steal for Price. Although it didn't work out for us, but it would have, if everything was under normal circumstances.
Right.
Yeah, but it's nice to have the relief there too, to have another starter in the rotation. And I've actually, as much as everybody's been like dogging on the bullpen games, I kind of like them, which is crazy because we've never had a bullpen. So I kind of felt shocked at myself liking bullpen games. Because a lot of our, because if he starts, for like an inning and a half, like, 2 innings, maybe 3, just saying, like, just to have that relief there. And again, that goes back to Kershaw, like, so we don't have to feel like we have to start Kershaw every other, third game.
Yeah. Well, he only got to start 1 game, but Walker Buehler, we haven't even brought his name up. World Series performance of a lifetime. 6 scoreless innings, 10 strikeouts. He doesn't get enough attention in the media, in my opinion. People should be talking about this guy like he's one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball. Even though he's not dealing like a Cy Young type of season during the regular season, whenever it seems to matter, he shows up.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's his tight pants or his blister that matter, apparently. Yeah. Oh, he's great too. I don't think Dodger fans were ready for good pitching. Because we haven't had any. Well, we have, but not, I wish Eric Gagne was in this generation of Dodgers. I'm not going to lie. Because he deserves a team like we have right now with how good he was too. So.
Yeah. One Dodger that I wish was able to get a World Series ring was Andre Ethier. Mm-hmm. He was just a solid outfielder for us for the 11 or 12 seasons that we had him. Captain Clutch was what his nickname was. He was there in 2017, but we know how that went. But he was definitely someone that I wish got a ring because he was a competitor.
I wish he would come back, maybe be like a hitting coach or something. Something. James Loney is another one that I kind of stan, which is funny because he was on the Rays too, and he's in Seattle, I think, now. After he retired, and I just want the best for all those guys, and I want them all to come to our team. And be like base coaches and stuff, because they deserve like they deserve what I just want them to all to be on the team at some point, and again, get what they deserve, like you said. Andre Ethier.
I want to circle back to something that I said on this very podcast back in February, I believe, when we recorded this.
Yeah.
I want to give the shout out to the world to Mark Pryor, in his first year as the Dodgers pitching coach. What he brought to the table with his teachings and mentoring of these pitching staff was exactly demonstrated on the field with how good this Dodgers team was under a lot of pressure situations. My very words were, nearly no pitcher faced as much adversity as this guy. I mean, he was on the Cubs when they blew a 3-1 series lead to the Marlins.
Yeah.
And he was on pace to be one of the best pitchers in baseball, but shoulder injury and all those other injuries derailed his career. So he really worked hard to get to where he was, and it just didn't pan out. But now he got a second chance as a pitching coach, and he's a World Series champion with the Dodgers. And I mean, working with May and Gonsolin and Urias and Gratterall and Trinan, all these guys, even Kershaw, it just his work was showcased, and I'm really proud of what Pryor did for us. I think he was very undervalued, and I mean, just a hero in terms of coaching.
Very pivotal move for the Dodgers to have him, for sure. Yeah. I'm still in awe. I'm still like trying not to cry. I know I'm like super emotional about it, but
Yeah, I'm trying not to cry because now baseball's over.
yeah, that too. And usually I have, college football. So I have to wait until the 4th for my November 4th for my, so it like offsets like not having baseball. So It's usually just like January to pitcher and catcher report where like I cry because I'm sad because there's no sports that I care about really. But now I'm like, oh, what do I do? Maybe the Ducks will win this year, even though they are only playing 6-7 games, I think. If they deem them worthy enough.
Yeah, did the Pac-12 even start yet? I don't think they did.
Yeah, the 4th and the 5th.
Oh, that's when
they start. Yeah, I think 3rd or 4th maybe.
Yeah. It's the Big Ten started last week, so.
Emma, what are you doing?
All right. Is anything else you want to talk about real quick, Alex?
No. Do you have any final thoughts about the World Series?
Sure. I'll start this one off. My final thoughts are this. There's going to be a lot of haters out there that are going to sell this Dodgers World Series short. They're going to say it deserves an asterisk or it's a kitty trophy or whatever else they're saying. No, that is not the case. Every team had the same odds. They were on the same playing field. This is going to be one of the hardest World Series trophies ever won, because you had the 1 seed with essentially no advantage whatsoever, having to play a best-of-3 series. We've seen upsets happen before. Dodgers got that done. They then had to go to a neutral site out in Texas at a ballpark they were hardly familiar with, play 3 consecutive rounds there. Dodgers faced the Padres, who had the second best record in the NL. They had to face the Braves, who were considered the 2 seed, and they had to face the Tampa Bay Rays, who were the 1 seed. So there were no shortcuts. There was no easy path. The Dodgers beat everyone fair and square, and this title is as legitimate as any other World Series that's won besides the Astros.
Right, and I just wanted mention this tweet. An Astros fan actually sent out like last night, I think, right after they won it. He was like, "Why should I be happy for the Dodgers? They weren't happy for me when the Astros won in 2017." It's like, because you cheated, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I've only had one Astros fan upset in my mentions today on Twitter, but I've gotten about 15 million messages from Giants fans and stuff. Growing up in Northern California, all my friends were Giants fans, and they're like, you know what? I'm happy for you, but screw the Dodgers. But none. Thankfully, no one aside from one person has said this season doesn't count. I've got a lot of people that have said you guys deserve this. I'm very happy for you. So, and I have, hold on, my daughter wants to say go Dodgers real fast. Hold on. Ready? You hear it? You say go Dodgers.
Let's go Dodgers.
Yeah. Who do you like the best?
Cody.
Did he hit the ball for you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is that good? Okay, she's happy now. Thank you. She's been the biggest Cody advocate for a very long time. So I have a video of her crying last year. She was like, I miss Cody. We just had left a game.
That's cute.
Yeah.
All right. So, anybody have any final thoughts other than that?
No, I'm happy. It's
Yeah.
about time. It's about time. That's all. And Kershaw. I am getting a tattoo because I promised I would. I'm getting Jock's signature because I love Jock, and the LA symbol, and then I'm just gonna tattoo all of my favorite Dodgers players' numbers underneath it. So I promised myself I would, so I'm gonna do it.
Thanks for having me on, Alex. You can follow me on Twitter at Klein25, and you can listen to my Dodgers podcast, The Incline Dodgers, on your favorite podcast streaming service.
All right. And in the words of Vin Scully, in a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
Best words ever. Thank you for having me. I talk a lot. Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, you were a great guest.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Yep. So that was our World Series podcast. You can follow me at Alex Keeler as always on Twitter. Follow pod at pod_tar. And check out the off-season episodes I'll be doing. We're putting out some for each team as see what happens here. Hopefully it's not a slow off season. Hopefully some moves are made, but we'll see what happens. And as always, you can never have too much pod tar.